So this week's question comes from Callum Dickinson. Why do training programs for a better 1 rep max not involve mostly workouts where we do 1 rep per set? That's a great question, Callum. And the reason is pretty straightforward. I mean, I don't know of any athlete really in the world that goes to maximum capacity every single workout. That is definitely a recipe to blow your nervous system out. Now, let's just have a chat about that for a second, because it really comes from, what we're really looking at is the way weightlifters would train and the way bodybuilders would train. Now, if we look at those two entirely different training cultures, obviously they have one thing in common, they both train, but one is predominantly focused on developing the central nervous system, the other is predominantly focused on developing muscle and making it as big as possible. Now, why for hypertrophy, it is quite desirable to make the sets last a little longer, tear as much muscle as possible, and then eat properly and all the rest of it, grow, recover, etc., etc. And essentially, you're getting stronger through increasing the actual size of the muscle. Okay. When it comes to central nervous system training, what you're actually doing is you're making the nervous system, which is basically the ability to tap into the muscular pool which one person has. You're making the nervous system more efficient and more effective. An analogy I always give is that everyone watching this video probably has the capacity through their muscular and skeletal system to lift a car. Yet there's a guy who runs your whole body that says you're not going to lift that car. And that guy is the central nervous system. And that central nervous system essentially communicates with the muscular system and says, well, you're only going to recruit this much muscle at this given time. Now, if we put a situation where your body basically perceived an event, let's say, and you hear about these stories, there are examples of limit strength, where, let's say, you have a small child who's trapped under a car, or it's a very, very dramatic situation where someone puts a gun to your head and says, unless you lift this extremely heavy load, I'm going to kill you, and you believe it and you're serious and all the rest of it. In those situations, your nervous system will allow and override the body's capacity to achieve incredible things. Now, with that said, when we do things like this, it does induce harm to the body. So what that means is when you do look up references of where you've had episodes of people doing limit strength, they have ripped ligaments, they've had ripped tendons, they've sometimes even broken bones, because it's out of the capacity of what the body can maintain. It causes damage to the body. So the reason why, and it was Charlie Francis, I believe, was the first, it was Ben Johnson's strength coach, very, very great coach, who basically said it takes 6 times longer to recover, the nervous system takes 6 times longer to recover than muscles do. So that means that while a bodybuilder is focused on hypertrophy, they can take that set to the end, they can take it to the absolute limit, not necessarily overtrain, fatigue the muscle. When we take 1 rep maxes to the limit, we keep pushing that and pushing it, it's too much for our nervous system. We essentially blow out, and what you usually see in doing that is a very sharp decline in terms of performance. I mean, just to test this, go into the gym today and do your 1 rep max on a deadlift. Tomorrow, try and do your 1 rep max on a deadlift. And that's all you do, just warm up, do your 1 rep max. Maybe on the second day, you might get more, right? Maybe, but on the third day, absolutely. And the stronger the athlete is, the more this is going to be true. On that third day, you're definitely going to notice a plummet in performance, because it's a true 1 rep max, because it's too much for the nervous system to recover from. So this is where the nervous system needs time. It needs time. It's not going to be built in one day. And this is obviously, and also connective tissue. Not a lot of people talk about that. That's something that needs to develop, and from a biochemical point of view, our bodies essentially create muscles, redesign our bodies muscular-wise every 90 days. I believe connective tissues every 200 days, and bones is up to 2 years, and that's in terms of molecules. The turnover essentially of our bodies, essentially putting new molecules back into our bodies. So it takes time. Muscles can deal with a lot more stress, a lot more load, and recover and be quite resilient from it. But when we do try the same thing with our nervous system, it's simply not going to work. And this is why you don't see, I don't personally know of any training program, maybe the Bulgarian method, but even still, they're not necessarily doing 1 rep maxes every day. They're doing maybe 2, 3 maximum capacity work, really going to the nth degree, but not doing 1 rep programs. And that's why you don't see it. If you compare the Russian system as well, it is a lot more longer and boring, but a lot safer at the same time compared to the Bulgarian method. But it really is, I believe, in terms of this, it's a confusion between strength training and bodybuilding, and there is a line between both. Strength training per se is really more around creating a neural connection to the muscle that you already have, whereas training for the muscle is about making that muscle bigger. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.